Okay guys, so you have been loving the top 5 and top 10s that we've been doing for FM21. We've already done the top 5 teams to manage, the top 10 Wonder Kids in FM21, the best Wonder Kids. There are going to be plenty more coming your way. If you have any ideas for them, get them down in the comments. I do read them and I want to make this something we do throughout the entirety of this year of Football Manager. With that in mind, today we're going to look at the top 5 teams to manage in England. Let's do this. So yes, today we are shifting our focus to England. I think a few people were surprised that in my top 5 teams to manage, I didn't include any English clubs. Well, that changes today. I know many of you love to play in England. You want to have that ultimate goal of winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League. Today I'm going to be giving you some teams at the top of the table and a few teams towards the bottom of the footballing pyramid that I think could be good to manage this year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And well, let's get into number 5, shall we? Coming in at number 5, we have got Reading, and they are the second highest position team in this countdown in terms of their standing in the English pyramid. They start in the Championship, a team whom, not that long ago, were in the Premier League on a couple of occasions. They were relegated, of course, in 2013, and in the years since, they've not really had that all happier return to the Championship. Financially, they have struggled, and that is represented in the lack of a transfer budget. Yes, no transfer budget, no wage budget, and if you look at the first team, there are some players that are debatably a little overpaid compared to the bulk of the squad. Yes, Reading, a team on a transitional path and very much working on a budget. If we just take a quick look at the club vision here, you can see that your budget you need to work within goes without saying. Sign and sell players for profit, kind of says what it is on the tin, but interestingly enough, end of the current season, repair the club's financial damage. Yes, this is a club that is not in a great standing longer term. You are going to need to build a new foundation. And well, the good news is you've been given all the tools to do it, because look beyond the overpaid oldies and looking towards the future, it's quite a bright future on the horizon for Reading. Some very good players. Debatably, the pick of the bunch is Elise, a fantastic little centre attacking mid, aged only 18, has a ton of potential in Football Manager as well, but plenty of other good youngsters within the first team with a hell of a lot of potential. This is a team that, I don't know, I don't think you're going to get promoted right away, but when you do get promoted, you will be able to do it with players from your own academy. And it goes beyond the real players, because if we take a look at Reading's facilities, great youth facilities, only average youth recruitment, but from my own anecdotal experience in Football Manager, Reading, they have a real habit of producing some really great players. So if you're looking for a squad that doesn't have a lot of money, a team where you are going to have to build from within in one of the most competitive leagues in England, the Championship, it's going to be a battle to get promoted, Reading might just be the team for you. York City are a side that not that many years ago were playing in the English Football League. They had back-to-back relegations in recent years, and for the past few seasons have played in the Vanarama National League North. Last season, they were top of the league. They finished first. And then a global pandemic hit, and the points per game system was used to decide the winner. And despite being top of the league, Kings Lynn were promoted. York promoted to the playoffs, where sadly, they fell short. And well, having missed out last year, I guess the big aim this year is to actually get promoted. A media prediction of second in the Vanarama National League North. Of course, this is the lowest playable league in the vanilla database of Football Manager. A fiercely competitive league where only one team goes up. In terms of your squad, York City have one standout player, and that man is Harry Bunn, debatably the best player at this level. He plays on the left wing, he's valued very highly, but he's only got 12 months left on his contract. Another nice thing about York is you've got a new stadium on the way. If we just take a quick peek at the facilities, you're moving into a brand new York Community Stadium in October, just a few months away. And to me, York City are poised to build a legacy, to try and forget about the last season, the season that never was. If you're looking for a road to glory-esque save, you're looking for a team to start at in the lower leagues, given their misfortunes last year, given the new stadium, given the expectations this year, I think York City are a really interesting team to manage. In one of the historic cities of England, can you bring success? Can you take them into the future and beyond? York await. Your bank balance has a little bit of money to spend, and ultimately, you probably should be getting promoted first season. No pressure. So I know what you're thinking, Jack. You've got Sunderland in this list. Every year since they've been in League One, they've been in countdowns like this year after year after year. Why is it different now? Why have you got them here? Stop writing that comment in the comments section. You don't need to write it, I'm aware. This year things are different for Sunderland though, because unlike anyone else in the league, you've got some money to spend. The pandemic has created an opportunity for Sunderland to capitalise on, folks. They've got wage budget unlike any other team. They've got a bit of a transfer budget as well. There is money in the bank. Their money is there to absorb, some of the hardships, I suppose, that the clubs around the league are currently going around. And interestingly enough, the chairman's looking to sell. So I could tell you all about these club cultures and club visions. There's a pretty good chance that, assuming you get promoted and don't get sacked, you're going to be bowing and answering to someone else in a season or two's time. If we just take a look at their squad here, the overpaid players are on their way out. Fortunately for you, less fortunate, I suppose, for McGeady and Leadbitter, they've only got singular years left on their contracts. Unfortunately, so has a lot of the first team. But the great news is, this allows you to build a Sunderland team to suit you. Sunderland are a team that are far too big for League One in theory. A club with resources that mean they should have been promoted out of this division at the first time of asking. And after an 8th place finish last year, you might think the expectations would be lower. But nah. Media prediction of 2nd. A board expectation to get promoted. An owner looking to sell. This should be the season. So this suggestion is one for those of you looking for a challenge in the Premier League, and a team that I'm surprised that not more people are doing. I thought I'd see more save games with this team. I think they might be the most challenging save game in the Premier League. It's Crystal Palace, everyone, a team whom for the last few years have cruised along and kind of established themselves as a Premier League club. I think that would be fair to say. Unfortunately, the media, they've not got your backing in the first season, a media prediction of 19th, and a board who expect you to avoid relegation despite the fact they're not going to give you that much in the way of resources to make things happen. Now, Crystal Palace actually have a pretty good squad to begin with. However, there's a bit of a problem here. Can you spot the problem, everyone? Yes, 17 first-team players, 29 years old or over. This is a team that is not built to last. The vast majority of the senior first team are old. And whilst that might not be a problem short term, yes, you might be able to avoid the drop for a few years, you are going to need to transition this team very, very quickly. Of course, Eze was signed this year, a great prospect, but perhaps the only great youngster in the first team. Sorry, Nathan Ferguson. Another interesting thing to note is if we look at the club vision, you've got a club culture of play counter-attacking football. So not only are you given all these old players and not a massive budget to make things happen with, you're then having to play a style of football that traditionally hasn't really worked in Football Manager. I will say, to FM21's credit, I think that this is pretty doable now to create a really effective counter-attacking system. You can see longer-term goals of continuing to grow the club's reputation and continuing to remain in the Premier League. Short-term, relegation battle year 1 seems pretty likely. Longer-term, trying to turn some of these older players into a little bit of money and reinvest it into a first team that is a little bit younger, but is going to remain competitive in the Premier League. Not an easy challenge, but certainly one that's doable. And if you're looking for a save in the Premier League to start things off, I think Crystal Palace are a pretty good team. And finally, coming in at the number 1 spot, we've got Southend United. Oh boy, where do I begin with this club? If you're a Southend United fan, this is the first time you've seen the name of your club and Thirst together in perhaps quite a long time. To be polite to Southend, they're a little bit screwed. They've had all kinds of debt issues. They were settled this year back in October. At the time of writing the script, they've got 0 wins this league season. They got 4 wins in 35 games to end last season. The only reason they didn't finish lower than 22nd is because Bolton started on negative points and Bury never entered League One. They're a team that have been very troubled. Even going into this season financially, they've had their issues. Here is your first team. You have got, 4 centre-backs and a squad of 20 players. You're lacking in quite a few areas. It'd be fair to say it's a young squad. It's a squad that lacks a lot of the necessary quality for this level. Predicted to finish 23rd. You might think, well, that's fine. You're going to have some money to spend. You're not. You're already over your budget. You might think, well, I can make some moves. I can move some players on during the first window. You can't, because the team's under a transfer ban until January. So for the first few months of this save game, it's kind of going to be a case of gritting your teeth, getting it on, with the players that you've got, just seeing what you can do, and desperately trying to avoid the drop. The board expectation is avoid relegation. Obviously, only 2 teams go down in League 2. Maybe you've got a chance of staying up, but with a minute squad, a board that aren't particularly happy, and the media simply not backing you, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a challenging one. And if you consider yourself a bit of a hardcore football manager, Southend's probably a team worth checking out if you want a challenging save game in the lower English leagues. Anyway, guys, that does wrap up this countdown from me. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said at the top, if you have any other ideas for top 5s or top 10s even, I'm running out of fingers, top 20s. Now, let's not get silly now. If you have any ideas for them, though, get them down in the comments. I would like to do more of your suggestions. And, of course, if you've got to the end, which I'm going to assume you have because you're here right now, make sure to drop a like on the video and, of course, subscribe if it's your first time here. There's loads of other top 5s and top 10s to check out. Link for them is in the description. And, well, until next time, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.